My sister used our father's death to promote her charity for Clout, so I exposed her text to the entire family. And what happened next finally made her understand what grief really means. My sister Emily has always been the kind of person who can make any situation orbit around her. The star of every story, the hero of every crisis. I love her, I really do, but ever since we were kids, she had this talent for turning sympathy into currency. When our dad passed away 6 months ago from a sudden heart attack, she found a new audience for that talent. It started small, a few sentimental posts on Instagram. A black and white photo of her holding his hand in the hospital, captioned, "Cherish every moment. You never know when it'll be the last. Broken heart, #grief journey, #my hero." Fine. Everyone grieves differently. I didn't comment. Then came the long captions, the mental health awareness, reels, the interviews for small local podcasts. She wasn't talking about dad anymore. She was talking about herself, her growth, her brand. Still, I tried to stay neutral. Mom was shattered enough. She couldn't handle another family fracture. But last week, I got a text from Emily that made my stomach turn. It read, "Hey, so I'm planning a charity gala in Dad's memory. It's for a good cause. I'm calling it Hearts for Healing. The money will go to a grief support fund. I'll handle all the logistics. You can donate if you want," smiley face. That didn't sound too bad at first. Until, 2 hours later, she sent another message. "Also, I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow announcing it. The theme is turning pain into purpose. Thinking of showing some photos from the funeral, maybe even the moment they lowered the casket. Do you have any clips from your camera?" I stared at the text, my jaw tightening. I remember holding Mom's trembling hand that day, both of us barely standing. And Emily wanted to broadcast it, for likes. I told her it was a bad idea. She responded instantly, "Stop being dramatic. It's called awareness. Not everyone hides grief in silence like you." That stung. But then she sent the text, the one that made my hands shake. "Using Dad's death for my charity fundraiser. It's for a good cause, and I need the attention. Don't guilt trip me." She said it so casually, like it was a business transaction. Not a father. Not a man who'd raised us. Just content. I remember just staring at the screen for a long minute. Then I typed my response. "Interesting approach." And instead of arguing, instead of letting her twist it into another moral lecture about purpose and visibility, I took a screenshot and I dropped it into our family group chat. There was silence for maybe 10 minutes. Then the typing bubbles started popping up. Mom, our aunt, even our cousin who rarely spoke up. Mom, Emily, please tell me this isn't real. Aunt Carol, what is wrong with you? Emily, it's for charity. Why are you all attacking me? Me, you said you needed attention. You got it. Then Mom called her. I didn't hear the full conversation, just the muffled sobs through Mom's wall later that night. I heard her say, "How could you do that to your father?" And, "You've humiliated yourself." By morning, Emily's fundraiser page was down. Her Instagram stories were deleted. And she blocked me on every platform. Part of me felt guilty. Part of me didn't. Because for months, I watched her build a shrine to her own grief, while Mom couldn't even walk into Dad's office without crying. And when Emily tried to monetize that grief, I snapped. Mom hasn't spoken much since. Just a quiet, tired kind of sadness. Like she's mourning both her husband and her daughter now. And me? I'm not proud of exposing her, but I'm not sure she left me another choice. 2 weeks passed after the group chat explosion. Emily hadn't spoken to me, to Mom, or to anyone in the family. The silence was heavy. I thought maybe she was embarrassed. Maybe this would finally make her realize she'd gone too far. I was wrong. It started when a mutual friend texted me a link. It was a new post from Emily's Instagram private account, but someone had screenshotted it. There she was, teary-eyed but polished, sitting in front of her ring light. The caption read, "When your own family turns on you for trying to do something meaningful, broken heart, I made one mistake. Letting people who don't understand social media dictate how grief should look. #cancel culture, #healing journey." She wasn't apologizing. She was rebranding. The comments were full of sympathy from her followers. "Don't let toxic people dim your light. You're so brave for speaking your truth. Haters always hate when they see someone doing good things." It made me sick. She wasn't just rewriting the story. She was profiting off being the victim. And what's worse, Mom saw it. She called me that night, crying again. She said, "She's making me look like a monster, like we all bullied her. I told her to stay offline, that people would forget, but I knew Emily wasn't done. A few days later, someone sent me a flyer for a new event. Hearts for Healing, relaunch event, hosted by Emily T. All proceeds to benefit families impacted by grief and trauma. Except this time, it wasn't a charity. It was a for-profit self-growth seminar, $150 a ticket, hosted at a rented co-working space downtown. That's when something inside me snapped again. I started digging. I used to work in accounting before Dad got sick, so I know how to read financial filings. I searched for her charity business registration. Nothing legitimate came up. But I found something else, an LLC registered under her name, created right after Dad's funeral. It was called HeartPath Initiatives LLC. And guess what her charity donations were going to? Her own company account. She'd created a fake nonprofit, then funneled donations directly to her personal business. Dozens of people had sent her money after her inspirational videos. I remember sitting there, staring at my laptop, my heart pounding in disbelief. I wasn't just dealing with vanity anymore. This was fraud. I didn't confront her directly. I didn't need another emotional monologue about intentions and authentic expression. I quietly compiled everything: screenshots, bank registry entries, business filings, even emails she'd sent out to donors. Then I sent it all to one person, Dad's best friend, Mark, who also happened to be a lawyer. He called me the next day, voice tight with anger. "I'll handle it. She can't just scam people using your father's name." I thought that would be the end of it. But Emily, being Emily, had one last act of defiance left. She went live on Instagram again, crying, saying she was being legally harassed by people who can't stand to see a woman succeed. She even implied I was behind it. The comments section turned into a war zone. And then, like poetic justice, halfway through the live, her account disappeared. Instagram had suspended it for fraudulent fundraising activity. Turns out, Mark had filed a complaint and attached proof from the state registry. Her payment processor froze the remaining funds. The next day, Emily sent a single text to the family group chat. "You're all disgusting. I was trying to make something of myself." No one replied. For the first time since Dad's death, I felt something close to peace. It wasn't satisfaction, just quiet, like the storm had finally burned itself out. Mom told me she'd blocked Emily's number. Aunt Carol said Emily's business partners had pulled out after the scandal. She'd burned her credibility, her reputation, and most of her bridges, all in one go. And me? I just sat on the porch that night, sipping a coffee, looking up at the stars. I whispered, "You'd have handled this better, Dad." But deep down, I think he'd have understood. Update 1. It's been about a month since Emily's account went down, and in a weird way, life has gone eerily quiet. For weeks after everything blew up, I kept expecting another text, an apology, a rant, a voice note, something. But nothing came. Just silence. Mom's been moving slowly through the house again. She still flinches every time her phone buzzes, as if expecting another headline or confrontation. I've been spending more time with her, cooking dinner, watching old movies Dad loved. There's a new kind of stillness between us, the kind that feels heavy but necessary. Then, last week, Mom's voice broke the silence. She said, "I keep wondering where I went wrong with her." And I didn't know what to say, because truthfully, Emily's always been like this, desperate to be seen, desperate to matter. Maybe she learned it from Dad in some twisted way. He was charming, successful, loved by everyone. Emily inherited that charm, but not his humility. She wanted his attention, and now she's chasing his ghost for validation. 3 days later, Mom got a letter. It wasn't handwritten, it was typed. From Emily. "I never meant to hurt anyone. Everything I did was for the right reasons. You all made me feel like a villain when I just wanted to keep Dad's memory alive. I'm sorry if you misunderstood my intentions." That's all it said. Mom read it out loud, then folded it quietly and placed it under a photo of Dad on the mantel. She didn't cry. She just whispered, "She still doesn't get it." And she was right. Because even now, even after losing her credibility, Emily still saw herself as misunderstood, not guilty, not remorseful, just misunderstood. Then came another surprise. Mark, Dad's lawyer friend, called me again. Apparently, Emily's charity investors had filed a small civil claim, not against her personally, but against her business entity. The good news was that no one wanted to press charges as long as they were refunded. She'd been forced to pay it all back, with interest. It cleaned out her savings completely. Mark told me, "She's lucky you didn't sue her yourself. You had every right to." And I realized he was right. I could have destroyed her career completely, exposed everything publicly. But I didn't. Not because I'm noble, but because there's no satisfaction in winning against your own blood. A week later, I got a text from an unknown number. It was short. "I know I messed up. I just didn't think it would cost me everyone." I didn't reply, not out of hatred, but because I had nothing left to say. Instead, I went to visit Dad's grave the next morning. I brought coffee for two, like I used to when he was alive, and just talked. I told him about everything. About Emily, about Mom, about how tired I was of trying to fix people who didn't want to change. And for the first time, I felt like he was listening. Mom joined me there later that afternoon. We sat in silence for a long time before she said, "Your father would have been proud of you for protecting this family, even from your sister." That broke me a little, because I didn't feel like a protector. I just felt like someone who got dragged through a storm and refused to drown. Now, when I think about Emily, I don't feel anger anymore, just distance. She's somewhere out there, still trying to rebuild whatever identity she can salvage. And I hope, truly, that someday she realizes what she lost. Not the followers, not the money, not the platform, but the people who actually loved her without needing a hashtag to prove it. Final update. 6 months later. Mom's garden is blooming again. She started tending it every morning. Says it helps her think less and breathe more. There's something peaceful about watching her kneel in the dirt, planting new life after everything wilted for so long. As for me, I moved back into the city a few weeks ago. Started a new job at a local nonprofit, small but honest work. I help manage memorial donations and outreach for grieving families. Sometimes people bring in photos of their loved ones, and I quietly think of Dad. It feels like I'm doing something he would have been proud of, something real. Then, one evening last month, I got a text from a mutual friend. "Hey, did you see Emily's new post?" I hadn't. I'd unfollowed her months ago. Curiosity got the better of me. So I checked. Her profile was still up, but empty. No photos, no captions, no smiling selfies with captions about resilience or healing. Just one single post. A black screen. Captioned, "Sometimes silence is the apology you owe everyone." No tags. No comments allowed. Just that. And maybe, for the first time in her life, she meant it. A week later, she called. I almost didn't answer, but something in me, maybe that leftover instinct to protect her, told me to pick up. Her voice was quiet. Not defiant, not defensive, just small. She said she'd moved out of the city, taken a part-time job at a small shelter for women in recovery. She said she was trying to learn how to do things for the right reasons this time. Then she said, "I know sorry isn't enough, but I mean it anyway." And that was it. No tears, no dramatic confessions, just truth. Finally, when I told Mom about it later, she didn't say much. She just smiled faintly and said, "Sometimes losing everything is the only way to start over." And maybe she's right. Because for the first time in a long time, I don't feel bitter. I don't feel betrayed. I just feel done, like the wound finally scarred over. Yesterday, I went by Dad's grave again, brought fresh flowers from Mom's garden, her new lilies, the ones she says look too hopeful for a world this heavy. I placed them down and whispered, "She's learning, Dad." Slowly, but she's learning. The wind picked up then, and for a moment, it almost felt like peace.